Hello guys, James here. I want to show you a video right quick and why I made that video, my last video from last night. And I made some comments about this young woman and her people from over in the Middle East. Sometimes in places like Lebanon, Libya, and places like that. I'm going to show you some video, so don't think I'm just ranting off or saying anything biased, but I'm going to show you where this is coming from. First video. Let me show you how some of these people who you go in their convenience stores, what they do over in their country, and they over here in the United States, and you have put. And the one video is going to show how much money you have put in their pocket, black people. How much money? They really ain't your friends. And I'm going to point this out in the video.
Hello fam, welcome to the African Diaspora News Channel. I am Ongil Zalal and bringing you this report. As usual, I'm bringing you a modern day slavery, but this time it's caught on video and it was secretly recorded. Watch the video first, let's come back and talk about it.
كيف حالك؟ السلام عليكم. والله تمام. هذا قدامك. اوكي. انا اشوف انا اخلي الموضوع كله للحرمه، انا عشان كل هذا الموضوع عشان هي يعني زينه 1000 واحده. اوكي. وانا ما قلت اصلا طقم. اسمع احنا ناديها اسمها ما ادري شو. ما ناديها انت سوريا شنو وين قاعد تطلع؟ الحين انا ما وصلت اخذ تليفون والله ما في استقبال درب الدروات نام ولا شيء وهذه ساره تعال ويش شوي هذا تعال لا كيف حالك؟ ما قاعد بدخن.
Our female undercover reporter stays inside with the domestic worker.
These are people that's in your convenience stores. They come over to the United States, they come over here, and they got people over there.
ما بعرف انا مستغرب انا بالنسبه لي مستغرب يعني هيك جواز في السعر تجوري اوكي حتى نضيف حتى
They take their passports.
شو يا مدام؟ والله تبيها تعطيني ابوك
If you want to give me a buyout.
طيب يلا
تشرفنا والله.
ما جاتا؟
ايوه لا بسم الله وين جنطتك؟ تروح شيء هذا لا يلا شكرا
Bye. He's selling an actual human being, and allegedly he's a police officer in Kuwait. And this couple, reporters, went in there with a camera, secret camera installed, and they were asking him how much you've seen, and they were discussing what does she do. It's like she's an object. That is why we call it modern day slavery, especially what is happening in the Arab countries is disheartening towards Africans. It's like they believe they're human beings and we are way less than them. And they have every right to sell us, buy us, mistreat us, rape us, kill us, and use us and throw us. And you saw how he was telling the guy, just as soon as you take away her passport, why should she have it? It's not like like she can go out. It's like
You see what they do?
What I think they don't understand is it is a transaction. She's giving you service. She's cleaning for you. She's washing your clothes, your dirty clothes, and she's taking care of your kids so that you pay her. She's not less than you at all. She's a human being. She just needed an opportunity. You are paying. She flew all the way to wherever you are, Oman, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Dubai, wherever you are. She came there to work because she didn't see opportunities where she is. Maybe there was, and she thought the grass is greener on the other side. That's why our people are fleeing, our women, our men are fleeing to this horrible people's countries and being treated like this, like less than animals. Like he is actually selling her, negotiating.
That's how they see black people.
Her, and he's like,
in America
whatever,
too.
whatever, and
Not just Africa.
I honestly don't understand why. Is it just because of the color of our skin? Just because we're darker? Like, that's what I genuinely don't understand where that thought process and superiority complex comes from.
White supremacy.
Just because I'm darker, I should be treated less than you. I don't get it. I honestly don't get it. Just because I'm poorer, I should be treated this way because the only reason why these girls are going there is to make money. That's it.
Right.
And why don't you just give them the money while they work for you and not ask anything of them, not take their passports, not beat them, not rape them, not kill them, and just coexist? I wish there was a way I could stop my people from going there and being treated this way, but frankly, I don't know how to do that except for tell people it's not as good as it sounds and show you reasons why not to go.
That's Kuwait, right?
I can't stop you. I can't chain you and keep you here in Africa. You go and then be treated like that. It's not fair. I'm sorry, but what do we do though? Like that's a genuine question now I have. What do we do about these things? We are seeing that there's modern day slavery in Arab countries. That's a fact. Our African girls go there and they return home either in a casket dead or bruised up or paralyzed or raped or with a baby that they didn't want, and all this because they went there for a job. That's it. So how do we stop this? I feel like we are helpless other than talking about it. Our governments should. I remember one time there was a law in Ethiopia that prevented girls going there to, do this domestic jobs. And it worked for a bit. And then they had an agreement. And then now it's open again. So they're fleeing the country to go and be harassed. I think it's time for African leaders to say no. Unless and otherwise they stop the system that they have, the kafala system. I've done a report on this before. Kafala system is basically once that girl is in their house, that she's their property. They take away her passport, they do as they please with her. Even if she goes to the police station, they're like, where's your owner? Why are you here without your owner? They return her back to the people that are
The
abusing
police
her.
over
Not
there.
only that, even if she
The police
tries to flee
won't even
the
protect
country,
you.
he has every right, the owner has every right to go and snatch her from the plane and bring her back home to his home. That's basically what the kafala system is. And our governments should say, unless and otherwise, this kafala system is not thrown away. We are not allowing our people to go there and do any sorts of jobs because they depend on those jobs too. The women don't want to clean. The women don't want to take care of their own babies. They hire these African women. These African women are valuable. That is why they hire them, because they see a need for their help. So if you're getting her help, if you're paying her for the help, you should treat her the same way you treat any other human, any other Arab neighbor friend that you have. I just don't understand how it's hard to fathom that concept. Like, we're all humans. Get that through your head. If anything, you're showing us that you are the one with the problem. You are the one that is less than a human being. Because you can't see the fact that this lady is your own species. We're all the same species, humans. So, yeah, you guys, you saw the video. Tell us down below what your thoughts are. I'm glad it was.
That was in Kuwait. That's a different part of over there in the Mediterranean. But I'm going to show you a video where In Lebanon, they do this. Watch this.
You asked, we
Where that one young woman, Amira's from,
zero sugar.
that I said on my other channel,
Zero
them
sugar.
come on the Lafitte Network. This is what her people do.
Now that's a drink.
This what her people do.
Yes, that's her. Okay, let's follow
This
her.
is in Lebanon.
One migrant worker dies every week in Lebanon.
And told me that here is a cemetery. I will kill you in the night and throw you there.
Rarely seen on camera, we followed the escape of just one worker fleeing for her life.
The kafala system is modern day slavery. There's no two ways about it.
Kapala system.
It looks like such an ordinary moment. But it's far from that. Okay, let's follow her. Go, go, go. It's the story of an escape from slavery. And you're watching it as it's happening. Sarah, 26, from Ghana, is stuck in Lebanon. She's allowed us to capture this moment.
In Lebanon.
as she
You allowed
slips
them,
away
you
from the
allowed these
abusive
people,
families she's been working with.
Ghana, you allowed Lebanese in your country?
Well, we're just approaching Beirut now, and the first stage of her escape is almost complete. In a suburb, she's met by another Ghanaian woman who escaped a similar ordeal a few months ago. Our introduction is brief and filmed discreetly. How you doing? Okay? Cameras here will rouse suspicion. How you feeling?
I have this like that, but I'm feeling good.
You're feeling good? We'll go inside and we'll have a chat inside.
I came to Lebanon to work and get money. I worked with some woman, the one who bring me in Lebanon first day. When I came there, he received me good with the husband. They were good to me. Only 1 week they change. If you do any mistake, she will use her shoes to be beating you. So there, the lashes was too much for me. I ran.
I'm sorry, so they hit you with shoes?
Yes. You sleep, you will not sleep early. If she is coming to wake you up, she will use her shoes to wake me up. So I decided to run. I ran from the house.
Sarah is not her
This is
real
Amira's
name.
country.
We changed it at her request to protect her from reprisals. She's a victim of a system called kafala,
Kafala.
Arabic for sponsorship. Migrants encouraged to the Middle East for work, but with no rights at all. Their agents control their lives and their destiny. So you managed to escape from that first family.
Yes. So I went to another different family from my office who they give me some woman. I went there to work too. There were sexual harassment. It's too much. One of my madam's brother, he want to sleep with me. He told me that this is $20. Take and let me spend my night with you. I said no, I didn't came here because of sex and money. The next day he came. I was in the bathroom striving. He came with naked. He didn't wear anything. He hold knife and do me like this and tell me, do you know this? I said knife. So he put it on my neck and told me that if you don't know and you tell my sister, I will kill you. Here is a cemetery. I will kill you in the night and throw you there. No one will know that it's me. So I was quiet and listened to him. He told me, from today going, every day I have to suck your breast. I have to do this, I have to do this. I don't even want to remember because what this guy did to me, it was very painful. It was very painful.
I'm so sorry. The challenges and the dangers ahead are still huge. She has no papers and no money.
I don't have the passport now.
Who has the passport?
It's with my agent. I don't have the passport. The agent owned me. She collect money from me. She collect my money. She beats me and collect my money from my hand.
This is not an isolated case, far from it. There are 250,000 migrant domestic workers in Lebanon, all under this system.
You said Lebanon.
The kafala system is modern day slavery. There's no two ways about it.
Human rights groups have lobbied politicians for years, but nothing has changed.
Unfortunately, most people here still don't understand the inherent racism of the kafala system. They think that the abuse that we see day in and day out is the result of a few bad employers rather than a system that is built on the exploitation and subjugation of these women.
And it's widespread.
It really is. I mean, people think that they have a right to have a migrant domestic worker live in their homes 24/7, be confined to her room, not have her passport with her. These are all things that, because of decades of practice, have just become completely normalized.
And this goes beyond domestic workers. Outside African embassies across the city, migrants are waiting for their nation's help. At the Sudanese embassy, they are men. Lebanon's economy is collapsing. And so these labourers have literally been dumped by their employers.
They take us as slaves. If I use myself, they take me as a slave. There are many people who is arranging themselves to come. They shouldn't come. Because this journey is do and die. It's very, very serious case. They shouldn't come.
The Lebanese government has in the past acknowledged that the system needs reforms, but they've yet to be implemented. Our requests for an interview have not been met. The charity who helped Sarah escape will now work with Ghana's embassy to try to get her and so many others like her home. Mark Stone, Sky News in Lebanon.
You think that was something? You think that was something? It gets even worse.
Back in 2013, we went to Lebanon for a report about the terrible treatment of domestic servants from Africa and Asia. That was 5 years ago, and it seems that not much has changed. We're going to show you a video now that was made on June 17th. It shows a member of the military who's off duty holding two African women by the hair and hitting them in the face. Observer Rahaf works for Lebanon's anti-racism movement.
According to the police, the man first bumped the two women with his car. They were furious and started shouting at him, and he apparently didn't like that. So he got out of his car and started beating them. Then another man joined him, then a woman who started hitting them too. The two women are illegals. They have no sponsor, so they couldn't get papers. Unfortunately, they risk being deported.
There are nearly 250,000 foreign workers in Lebanon, many from Ethiopia, Sri Lanka and Bangladesh. They're there under a sponsorship system known as kafala. Their sponsors, or kafils, are legally responsible for the workers and control their contract, their living conditions and their work permits.
This was not an isolated incident. This kind of abuse happens all the time. A few weeks ago, an Ethiopian maid who'd complained about being mistreated jumped out of a second-floor window to escape her sponsor. She broke both
Ethiopian
of her
woman,
legs.
jump out the window. They attacked her with some scissors.
There was an inquiry, then another inquiry. Both of them found the same thing, that it was an accident. The maid fell while trying to hang washing on the balcony. When a servant lives like that, shut off from the world, it's very difficult for them to ask for help.
So that's how they get down in Lebanon and in Kuwait and in Libya and a few other countries. And it's more and more and more, but it's just one is kind of long. But yeah, that's what her people do over there. That's why they come among us. They're always looking for an opportunity to come around us to get rich. Then when they come to America, that's why they be setting up stores and stuff. But we don't even know that their background. But he's some slick son of guns, man. And they don't pay people nothing. You work for them, they don't pay you nothing. But yet they all up in your community, black people. They come up in your community and make money and send money back to Lebanon and Kuwait and all them other places. And I'm not just saying this. Shout out to this brother right here.
Tamika stepped into the corner store on the corner of her block. She was just trying to grab a bag of chips and a soda before heading to her friend's house. The bell chimed as she pushed open the door, and she was immediately hit with the strong scent of incense and hookah smoke. Tamika walked past the aisles of halal meat and stacks of imported goods, trying to find the snack aisle. But as she made her way down the narrow aisles, she noticed that the Arab store owner was eyeing her suspiciously.
Can I help you with something?
He asked, his accent thick and hard to understand.
No, I'm good.
Tamika said, quickly grabbing the chips and soda she needed and heading to the counter to pay. But as she handed over her money, the store owner inspected it closely, as if he didn't trust it was real.
Are you accusing me of giving you fake money?
Tamika asked, her irritation mounting.
No, I'm just checking.
The store owner said quickly, handing her the change. Tamika left the store, feeling frustrated and disrespected. It wasn't the first time she'd been treated like a criminal in a corner store owned by Arabs. She knew she wasn't the only one either. Her friends had similar experiences, and she'd even heard stories of Arab store owners calling the police on innocent black customers. As she walked away from the store, Tamika couldn't help but think about the systemic issues that allowed Arab store owners to dominate black neighborhoods. She knew it wasn't just about a few bad experiences, it was about a larger pattern of economic exploitation and cultural clash. But for now, all she could do was avoid the Arab-owned corner stores and gas stations in her neighborhood as much as possible, hoping one day she wouldn't have to feel like a criminal just for trying to buy a bag of chips. Welcome, Trap History family. It's Project Professor once again, and this episode we are exploring the intersections of race, power, and money. In this video, we'll be asking the question, do Arab-owned stores exploit the black community? It's a controversial topic, but one that deserves our attention. No secret that Arab-owned corner stores are a common sight in black neighborhoods across the country.
Yeah.
But why is that? And do these stores actually exploit the community they serve?
One cigarette bought at the store from the neighbor. One loose cigarette from an neighbor.
When you look at the economic landscape of black neighborhoods, you see a lot of poverty, unemployment, and underinvestment. And at the same time, you have these Arab-owned stores that seem to be doing quite well. So, it's natural for people to wonder if there's something exploitative going on.
Indeed, there have been protests and calls for boycotts of Arab-owned stores in some communities. But are these concerns justified?
Look, I'm just trying to make a living like anybody else. I came to this country with nothing and built this business from the ground up. I employ people from the community, I pay my taxes, and I try to be a good neighbor.
On the other hand, some argue that the success of Arab-owned stores is due to exploiting the community through high prices, poor quality products, and disrespectful treatment of customers.
They don't treat us with no respect. They be following us around a little store like made us steal something.
The prices always be higher than the other stores. And their stuff always be expired and looking cheap. So, what's the truth? Are Arab-owned stores exploiting the black community? The answer is complex, and it depends on who you ask.
There's no doubt that Arab-owned stores play an important role in black neighborhoods. They provide jobs, goods, and services that might not otherwise be available. But at the same time, there are definitely instances of exploitative practices.
Ultimately, the question of exploitation is tied to larger issues of systemic racism and economic inequality. It's important to hold businesses accountable for fair practices, but it's also important to address the root causes of poverty and disinvestment in our communities. Thank you for watching this episode of Trap History. We hope it has shed some light on this complex issue. As always, we invite you to continue the the conversation in the comments below.
I'm gonna stop right here and shout out to his channel, Trap. But yeah, this is my opinion on it. I'm glad that they have Dollar Generals, even though Dollar General and dollar stores, that's why they come in the community, because they really hire and they try to pay a decent wage as far as that. Even though I know that some of the products is not exactly, but at least when you go into a Dollar General, that the stuff is coming off the truck, is coming fresh off the truck, and they're not gonna give, not too many dollar stores is not gonna give you some expired food. They don't want to take that chance, and so that's why I don't shop at Arab stores. I'm in Ohio. I haven't. I did one time because I was curious about this one down the road, and that was the last time I ever shopped in one. And what I usually go to is Dollar General or Really Dollar. Why do I go in them places? Because people, when it comes, I wish some black people can see this. When you shop places like that, even though it's a franchise, at least you see people that look like you, or other than. At least you can understand. Either if they're white, you can understand what the heck that they talk about. Most of them won't have an ad, and people in there can have an attitude too, but at least you see where they're coming from. But with some of these, Arabs, they just about just some of them are just about as racist as the white people. And they come over, you see it in the country that they take advantage of somebody and take their passport, and they don't promise to do a job. Then they don't want to pay. They're very street people when it comes to doing business. You know, when it comes, and that's why I said I don't even know why we even rock with them like that. They need to go rock with them other communities, but they come and they take advantage because it's a predominantly black area, even though there are white people and other people are down there. But my thing is, what you know is that they don't ever go out in the suburban stores, in the well-to-do suburban store, selling some liquor and expired bread. Wherever city and town you live at, and wherever they at, you'll never see that. They ain't gonna give them no expired bread and no milk, because see, white people will speak up. Them kind of white people speak up and say, hey, if you don't get this stuff together, we'll shut you down. And in fact, that's what they've done in the area where I used to live at. Because they do. They just think that people should just take something second class and they make a buck off of it. And black people, you helping them people send their kids to college and bring their cousins over from the Middle East and them countries and stuff. And so, and then when they get over here, the second, third generation, they start feeling themselves off of that. But they bank off of you. And then you got some of these black folks that's kind of like, want to have this so-called Rainbow Coalition. And some of these people ain't about Rainbow Coalition. They don't care about no Rainbow Coalition. And they'll play the victim along with you. But when they get their money and they get their business, they get a little status, whatever, they kick you to the curb and talk about you the law. Just like this woman, even though he's not Arab. But I'm going to play a little bit of Tareen's video on this guy.
How to escape the heat if you don't have an air conditioner. This only takes 5 minutes.
It is the truth.
Tired of hot and stuffy rooms during summer? This genius way to cool any room in 90
Let's
seconds.
Stop shopping at the store. Shop at Dollar General.
Crazy in the US. An ingenious college kid from Phoenix.
I've been wrestling back and forth whether or not to make this video talking about Vivek Ramaswamy, or as I like to call him, Vivek Ramen Noodles. because I easily could have talked about him a while ago before people really started to find out who he was, and they just now were becoming aware of him because of the interview he did with Don Lemon, which would probably be seen as Don Lemon's last interview before he ended up getting fired from CNN. Now, had I known when I did my Triple P on Don Lemon about this interview, because I didn't know, I don't watch CNN, but had I had known, I would have incorporated that in there, saying that could have been a contributing factor as to why he got fired. And shout out to Harvey, because he actually did a separate video talking about Vivek Ramaswamy possibly being the reason why Don got fired. And I'm going to get into that a little bit later. But the first time I actually heard about this guy was on Blacklight Revelations 2, and shout out to Rob. He was the first person I've ever seen talk about this guy. I'm like, who is this dude? Like, why is he so important, and why should I know who he is? And good thing I learned about him then, because this guy is going to be a problem for black people, especially foundational black Americans. Now, you know, I always talk about when it comes to the presidential run, as far as on the Republican side, I've always said that if Ron the Snowflake, or as I like to call him, runs, he's going to be a problem for us on a federal level, especially with all the stuff that he has in motion and all these bills like that Stop Woke Act and everything like that. That's literally what he tries to run on. If he gets in, it's going to be a problem for us. But this guy right here is what I call the sleeper. You know how you have movies that come out and they become what's called sleeper hits, like movies that people don't think is going to do well, or movies that people don't check for, and it ends up becoming a hit, and then people start looking for it after the fact. That's him, but in human form. And let me tell you something right now. Everything that I've heard about this dude, as it pertains to black people, that is, I can care less what he thinks about anybody else. I'm only focusing on us.
Yeah, what's up?
Is not good. Like, he does not have a good rapport with black people at all. And I'm talking about foundational black Americans. I'm just talking about us, all the other groups that's in the diaspora. If they got an issue with him, they can air out their grievances with him. I'm focusing on us. So this guy, he's of Indian descent. Clearly, when you hear that name, that's not an American name at all whatsoever. When you look at him, you can tell he's not your typical American. I actually just found out this guy's 37. He's only 3 years older, well, soon to be 3 years older than me. I don't know if he was born, you know, if he just turned 37 or he's about to turn 38. He's either going to be 3 years older than me, because I'm recording this a little over a week before my 34th birthday, or if he's going to be 4 years older than me. So I'm not exactly sure, but he's 37 as of right now, currently at this age as I'm talking. And he plans on running for president of the United States in 2024 on the Republican side. Now, I think Joe Biden said that he threw his hat in the ring to run for re-election, and that's like the big talk right now. So everybody's kind of gearing up. All I'm going to say is this election cycle, this next one is going to be very interesting, to say the least. A lot of people are going to be paying very close attention to how everything is going to be ran. I'm curious to see who else is going to be running on the Democratic side, to be quite honest. Not because I'm supporting them, but I just want to see who else is going to throw their, well, if he runs for re-election, then it's only going to be him. So it's really going to be who's going to run on the Republican side. Listen, y'all can tell I'm not that deep into politics like that, just by me saying that, but it is what it is. So this guy is planning on running on the Republican side. And if you looked at all the interviews and all the talking points that he had, he finds a way to slip black people in there somehow, some way. And whenever he does it, you would think that this guy is the so-called quote-unquote spokesperson for black people, but not on anything good, but on everything bad. And then you have his flunkies that will jump into comment sections, especially on Twitter is where I see it the most, that will say, oh, Vivek, you are so inspiring, you are so wonderful, and everything like that. Note to self. Whenever you have white people that do that, and that could be for anybody, whether they're white, not white, black, whatever, say things that's disparaging about black people, white people are going to jump to support you. Seemingly, they're going to jump to support you, and that's exactly what they're doing right here. And that's leading towards what recently happened with the interview he did with Don Lemon, which I believe is the last interview Don did on CNN, before his departure. And I'm putting that lightly because really, in actuality, he got fired. He did an interview talking with Don Lemon and, just a different host of different things. Now, before I get into it, CNN is starting to shift, and I think I talked about this before, but in case I haven't, CNN is starting to shift in a direction away from what made them known. CNN has always been seen as this liberal type of network for years, probably since its inception, or at least in latter years. But now they're starting to shift more into a conservative pundit, much like Fox News, in order to compete with them. Because when you think about it, the two biggest networks, as far as the biggest network that's more liberal is seen as CNN. The biggest network that's seen as conservative is Fox News. But CNN is starting to shift in a way that's going to start to mimic what Fox News is doing. So they brought in Vivek Ramaswamy, and Don Lemon interviewed him, and Vivek started spewing out all the different types of rhetorics that you could think of. But the one that was really potent about it was when they got into the discussion about like the NRA and the organization NRA, how it was formed and how it affected black people. And it's like this guy was spewing out a bunch of lies, and Don Lemon, shockingly, in the last couple of months has grown a spine. I think it's because of the loss of his primetime show, but I think it's like too little too late at this point. Decided to check him on that, and a lot of people was actually saying Don was right. There was a lot of people that was in support of what Don Lemon said, but the damage was already done. So they literally brought in my opinion, I think they knew Don was getting ready to be on his way out, because like I've said before, when Don got his primetime show taken away and he got moved to the morning show where he had to share the show with two white women, I said, yep, he's on his way out. I called that back then, like back in December, I believe it was, when he lost his primetime show. It was either November, December, I forget, it was somewhere around that range. When he lost that primetime slot, I said, yeah, whenever they do that, that means that they're about to hoist you out to sea with no life raft. And that's exactly what they did. But notice they didn't fire him at that time. That was his warning when he made that comment about Nikki Haley, about the age and the prime and, past your prime and past the wall and all that. That was just a warning shot. But this one with Vivek Ramaswamy, that was the kill shot. So you had a warning shot, and then this was the kill shot. And this was the one that was a bullseye that put a nail in Don Lemon's career at CNN after being there for 17 years. But they were just basically talking about the NRA and, how the organization was formed. And Vivek was spewing out a bunch of nonsense and lies that didn't make any sense. And Don, in so many words, was checking him. He was correcting him on it. But of course, Vivek is one of the people that don't like to be corrected, especially when it comes to the topic of black people, because apparently he's an expert. He knows our entire history better than he knows his, or better than we know ours. And that's an issue that a lot of black people have when it comes to people who are not black, or who will try to tell us our own history. And then when we check them on it, they get upset. I remember seeing comments in the comment section under his post, Vivek's post, where he would talk about, the interview that he did with Don. He would post a video and he would leave a comment, and then you had people under there say, why do you have to be, you don't have to be black to talk about black people. Well, when you're talking and spewing lies and inaccuracies, black people are going to check you, and they don't like when we do that. They hate it when we check them. We're supposed to just deal with whatever lies that they tell us about ourselves and keep it moving. That's how you rewrite history. Now keep in mind, Vivek Ramaswamy, he may have the talking points of a white supremacist, but he's not white, which is why I always say, you do not have to be a white supremacist, a white person to be a white supremacist. He is the perfect embodiment of that phrase, of that statement. And there's many more out there like them, because he uses
second generation
all the talking
American
points. And he fits it right down to a T, and he does it with no shame. That's why they always say, we have no friends, we have no allies. No matter how many times they think that there's some kind of allyship there, or how many times black people think that they have some kind of...
If I lost everything, like my house...
That's true. That's true what he's saying, but I'm gonna go to this other video, and you're not gonna believe this one, this next one. This shout out to this woman, Iveda, and you have.
Yeah, I was born here just like you. Don't come at me like that. Let me just live my life, okay? I'm African.
Everywhere on this planet where your phenotype exists, indigenous people suffer. Everywhere on this planet where your phenotype has settled, indigenous people want you gone. Everywhere. So you can choose to do something with that information, or you can just ignore it and say, you know, you were born here. That's fine. Now, the fact that you were born here should not have happened. You were born here of violence, colonization.
In recent years here on the continent, we have seen an influx of descendants of colonizers fighting tooth and nail to be referred to as Africans as well. They want to be Africans so bad. You find them fighting with Africans, attempting to force them to accept them as Africans as well, even though 30 years ago, these people wanted nothing to do with the title African. They looked down on Africans and belittled them, hunted them down and unalived them just because they were Africans. They degraded Africans and their cultures. You know, all in all, 30 years ago, these descendants of colonizers were very proud Europeans. But now, they don't want to be Europeans no more. They want to be Africans.
Sad enough, it's actually getting much worse. Look at the sign, for example. We didn't make these signs. These signs were specifically made by them and for them. And guess what they called it themselves when they were in charge? European. But like I said, it's getting worse, because now we have an influx of Afrikaans-speaking people telling other Africans that they aren't African enough. This is Trikas. You probably know the other guy, Izzy. He's the champ of the UFC middleweight division, and the reason why he's saying please win is because he wants to beat this man because of what this man said. It got so bad that even the Daily Mail had to get a take on it. Pause to see their caption, because I agree. This man decided to come out and say that there are only two real African fighters, and that Francis Ngannou, Israel Adesanya, and Kamaru Usman, 3 champions by the way, weren't African fighters because they weren't living on the African continent anymore. Either not noticing or not caring that Ngannou, for example, only left Cameroon because he was trying to get a better life for himself as a fighter after spending his entire childhood and a lot of his adulthood working on a sand mine. I mean, the champ in the division that he's fighting in talks vehemently about how when he was in New Zealand, he was being bullied constantly for being African and told to go back home, a place that according to Trikas isn't his home. So he's going to New Zealand and being told by British descendants that this isn't his home. And then when he goes back home, he's being told by Dutch descendants that Africa's also not his home. What the fuck? And I get it. He's trying to sell a fight. You think. But now look at the kind of assholes and idiots that are commenting on Izzy's comments. Look what they're saying. Only 2 fighters. And that's even confusing, because here's a list of all of the active fighters in the UFC, minusing a couple like Ngannou who've now left and gone into free agency. So it's a lot more than 2. So who are these 2? Who are the 2 that Trikas mentioned and that these Afrikaners keep mentioning as the only people qualified enough to represent the African continent in the fight game?
Did you know it's actually cheaper
Ain't
to
that
have
something?
sellers reaching out to you asking for a cash offer on their home than it is to set up?
The face of Africa. Not only have they drank the Kool-Aid on who they are, making them African as it is convenient, but now they're giving themselves the authority to decide for us if we're African. That's it. I'll just have Israel Adesanya speak for himself.
I've never questioned him as an African. Because, yeah, you were born in Africa, South Africa, of course you're an African. I've never questioned that. But who the f*** is tell me who the f*** I am, who the f*** Maru is, who the f*** Ngannou is? I'm like, are you dumb? As a product of colonization, you're trying to tell me who the f***
I agree with the things this brother said, except for the part where he said them being born in Africa makes them African. That little statement there I don't agree with. If you are not of African descent, you are not African. It's statements like this that would over time lead to the erasure of who the true Africans actually are. So as African people, we should be very careful not to play into this game. We should make sure we are being careful and not participating in our own erasure. If you did not descend from people who are indigenous to the continent, you are not African. If anybody can be African just by being born here, if there is no longer exclusivity to the identity, then what's the point of the identity African? there is a difference between nationality and ethnicity. If I were born in Europe, that wouldn't automatically make me European. If I were born in Asia, that wouldn't make me an Asian. Now let's spell it out for those in the back who like to act and pretend like they don't understand what we are saying. If you are a white person and you were born in South Africa, yes, by virtue of you being born in South Africa, you are South African by nationality. But ethnically speaking though, you are European. The audacity of these people though is astronomical, to tell Africans that because they are presently not living on the continent, they are not African. But you see, they won't tell that to an Asian person living outside of Asia that they are no longer Asian because they are not living on their continent. Because you see, these people have a different level of audacity and entitlement when it comes to Africa and her people. This is why we have to be very careful and not so easily invite these people in on our stuff, because give them an inch before you know what's happening, they've taken the whole acre. I mean, for crying out loud, these people have a history of stealing and they steal shamelessly.
They ain't the only ones.
They steal artifacts
They
and
ain't
they
the
also
only
steal
ones.
identities. These people stole the Afrikaner identity. They are presently appropriating the Afrikaner identity. Even named their language Afrikaans. Now they want to steal the African identity too. Not going to happen.
Our parents, they started out the nasty in South Africa, where they live, and have me, you know? And now you're calling me a colonizer. I didn't colonize shit. Okay, I was born here just like you.
I'll get to your parents in a second, but a few things first. Everywhere on this planet where your phenotype exists, indigenous people suffer. Everywhere on this planet where your phenotype has settled, indigenous people want you gone.
That's true.
Everywhere.
Right.
So you can choose to do something with that information, or you can just ignore it and say, you know, you were born here. That's fine. Now, the fact that you were born here should not have happened. You were born here of violence, colonization, right? Your parents remained here because a system was put in place through violence, through colonization, that made it legal for you to stay here. A system that indigenous people did not approve of and has never favored them, and has never benefited them as well. So the legality around you being here and staying here has nothing to do with indigenous people, because we did not agree to this. We did not consent to this. So now you're saying you're not a colonizer because you didn't colonize any place. This is where I blame your parents. Because where you are born is not controlled by you. But what you do with what you know where you are born is everything. And the fact that you are this ignorant, I blame on your parents. So this can be the start of a journey towards educating yourself about colonization, how you've benefited from it just by your skin color, or you can stay ignorant like your parents have allowed up to this point.
Right.
So, granted, there are many white people all over the planet who fight for indigenous rights. There's a reason they do this. You can educate yourself as to the reasons they do this, or you can just stay another ignorant white person. So what I would do if I were you is I would chalk the last 19 years and blame it on your parents allowing you to grow up in this bubble of privilege where you don't know anything about your history, you don't understand why we say you are privileged, and you don't understand why people call you a colonizer. You can blame your parents for all that, but from this point onward, what are you going to do with what you now know? What are you going to do with the fact that all over the planet where colonization has happened, indigenous people still want white people gone? What are you going to do with the fact that all over the planet where settlers are, on average, they are always doing better than indigenous people? Why do you think that is? And why do you think that so many countries are still sitting destabilized, even though colonization ended so long ago? What do you think is perpetuating colonization? What do you think is continuing the legacy that colonization created? Because as you say, all the colonizers are gone, but how is it that their descendants are still benefiting from what was done?
I mean, these people can complain all day, talk about how they weren't alive during colonization, they weren't colonizers, and that we should stop calling them colonizers. For me, it's very simple. If you descend from colonizers, you are a colonizer.
Right.
If you
Right.
profit from colonization, you are a colonizer.
Right.
And if you act like your colonizer forefathers, you are a colonizer. If it looks like a dog and quacks like a dog,
It's a
dog.
Even
Exactly.
on my other TikToks, I've been called a colonizer.
Yes, you are.
What did I do? I didn't do anything wrong. Let me just live my life, okay? I'm African.
Oh, you've done plenty wrong. And you start off by not understanding the fact and the thing we're stopping all around the world, all over the world. We're stopping pale people from talking like this,
Yep.
and even the pale Arabs, because they're trying to usurp by talking like this that they're born someplace and now that they're there. This is what they're trying to do with North Africa, and they're trying to whiten North Africa and say North Africa is pale Arabs, Europeans, not black Africans. This is the same mentality. This is what we're fighting against. These devils that think like this. Oh, I was born in South Africa. Now I'm South African. No, you're not. Your genetics in Central Europe, okay? If you don't know it, stop lying to them. Give an education.
According to indigenous South Africans, they do not even speak any of the indigenous South African languages. That's how much they do not vibe with and associate with Africans and their culture. They don't even acknowledge or respect the people and their culture, but they want them to accept them and identify them as Africans. You don't respect their opinions, thoughts, and feelings, but you want them to accept you and identify you as African. Till date, you still treat them like shit, but you want them to accept you and identify you as African. Is the fact that they are not even asking us to accept them as Africans. They are forcing us to accept them as Africans.
I'm going to stop it right here. I'm about to speak a few minutes on this video. It's the same way over here. They have the same mindset over here when it comes to reparation and different things. That's what they're going to try to probably do over here. Oh, if they do that to them, imagine when it comes, if God would open up a spirit of reparation, watch how I bet you they'll do the same thing, some kind of thing. They'll come up and say that they're African American, and they know damn well they ain't African American because they want to be the boy. Just they're white. They have had a history of whitening in the subject. They do it in North Africa. They did it in Australia when they the Aborigines over there. They try to whiten them out. They try to whiten them out in Argentina. They try to whiten them out. They try to whiten out Brazil. That's why I said. That's why there are people say white supremacy is global, and in the end, when they know the time is up, and when retribution and reparation come, the same opportunities along with these other people who couldn't stand black people or black diaspora, don't think too highly of them. Always have this myth that they come from a continent that most of them were born out there next to some animals, so they must have a mind of an animal. And that stuff plays everywhere in the black diaspora that they do. In some different, they just speak it in different languages. And they try to prove more inhuman black people are when we are the original human beings on the planet. They try to do it through study. It has fallen down. They do it through Darwinism. It fell down. They do it through all these other isms, and they all fall face. And now that truth is coming forward, they can't handle it, even in ethical things that happen in the Bible to the Quran. They can't help it. They have to whiten it up. This is subconsciously. If one day when the true Messiah Jesus, the one that was up on that cross and come back with his holy angels, I want to see the look on their face then when he makes his appearance into the earth. Is he going to be racist then? Because subconsciously, that's how sick some of them are about race when it comes to dark and light. That's why it's deep. It's a hatred, it's a jealousy, it's an envy, and they do like, and then like like a few people always say like the one guy from the field, he always say they live rent free in their mind. It's like if you don't like black people, why are you always trying to take their title? If you don't like black people, and this is to any, not just to the white Africans and white Americans, but or some white Americans that feel like this, but even these Arabs and other people, why do you keep coming around black people? Why you keep setting up your business around black people if you don't have the audacity and the respect to respect us? Why do you always like that one? This woman who is Lebanese, why do you always come up in our platform? Why is it? Why is it that you gotta come around and then you try to slick like slap, think that we ain't gonna catch on? You trying to be our friend, and at the same time you throw slick disc in our face and think that we're not too bright to gonna catch on what you saying, and you say any old thing. And this is the reason why. Why do you come into our spaces? That's my question. Why do you come around black people? If I didn't think too highly of a people, I'm not gonna go around the people who I don't think highly of, and I'm not gonna want them their prosperity. I don't want their money. I don't want anything to do with them. But yet these same people, and I don't care what my friends or family would say. If you're gonna be racist, just be racist all the way around. I'm just saying, stop this in the closet racist stuff. You know what I'm saying? Stop this in the closet racist. And then you come around, you make like your friend, like this woman.
Amid global market volatility, stock market losses and rising inflation have left investors
come up into a black network, and that's her people from Lebanon. She's from Lebanon.
With a reliable way.
But the video I just showed you earlier. Why do they come around us if they don't like us? That's the $50 million business. They scared of us. They don't have respect for us. When we come in their business, they think we thieves and doing something. Why you keep coming around us? That's the $50 million question. Is I wish somebody could answer me that question. Why do you want to come around the people who you don't think highly of? They're not intelligent enough. They're thieves. They're robbers. You feel that they're savages, but you feel like. But yet, when it comes to music and sports, you want benefit off of them. And the latest jam, as long as you can make a buck and get some business off of them, you all right. But why do you come around us? Why do you treat our African counterparts the same way? Why are you over there in Africa? Some of you that come out of Lebanon. I'm just curious. Why are you over there? Why do you go to those other European or Arabic countries? Be around your other Arabic brothers, Arabic counterparts. Why do you come around the blacks and abuse them? That'd be my question. And why do you have some simple second generation idiot that has to put his mouth on something when he don't know nothing about our politics, about black people? He's a second generation American, don't know shit what the whole struggle is about. And then just come and capitalize on our pain. We're sick of being a whipping dog. That's what the thing about. And you think we're not bright enough, and it's an insult. And think that we just sit there and just take it no more. And then the only way this as the black people, when we hit you in your parents and your grandparents' business, and we just stop doing business with you, and we cut you off. Then we'll find out who's better if you're so superior to us. But we're not going to spend our dollars with you. That's the way it should be. That's how you teach these people a lesson, black people. Economic boycott. And it should be here as well over Africa and any other black nation. Boycott these people's business. Stop dealing with them. You see what they do to your fellow citizens, and send them back to their country, and let them go through their panic, and let them be a slave among themselves. All right then, y'all take care, and from Africa to the Black American in diaspora, be blessed. Take care. Hold your head up. And black people, we will get what is due to us. And then we're going to give it up one way or the other. Because it ain't going to be us. It's going to be the one that's behind us. The one that made this whole universe and planet. That's who's going to get it. And it don't matter what they say, no matter what they think. We're going to get it one way or the other from him. Just hold on. Take care.